I've been married to my husband for 4 years, and we've been together for 12 years. After a lot of financial struggle, we bought a house and are now planning to have kids. A few months ago, my husband fell sick and had to stay home for a while. He picked up an online game and started having weekly sessions with a group of players. Among them is a girl, around 30 years old, and long story short, he fell in love with her. He broke down crying a month ago and admitted it. He told me it built up gradually, and he didn't understand how he felt until it was too late. They started texting privately after meeting and eventually had one-on-one calls together. At some point, she told him she was in love with him, and he realized it was mutual. He said he told her it was impossible, but loved her too. They tried to be just friends, but couldn't resist and continued to show affection for each other, venturing into sexting. She asked if she could meet him face to face, but he refused. He told me all of this, apologized repeatedly, and said he couldn't control himself. While he loved us both, he would choose me no matter what. I was very upset and slept at a friend's house that night to gather my thoughts. I decided to forgive him because he clearly felt guilt and wanted to work it out. I told him that while I was deeply hurt, I appreciated him coming forward and being honest. We had long conversations about our relationship. I accepted he could love someone else, but said I didn't like how he handled it. He agreed. Then, yesterday, he asked if I was comfortable opening up the marriage to polyamory. He said he still wanted to live with me and have kids, but couldn't erase or ignore the feelings he has for her. He wants to do it right. Let us both see other people, with clear boundaries and communication, and still be present for one another. I'm going to be honest. It made me very uncomfortable at first. We have several friends who are poly, so I know more or less how it works, but I never thought about it myself. I'm trying to think it through, but it's a lot to take in. Sorry, my writing is probably messy, but it's kind of hard to focus. I guess it's too early to decide, and we have a lot more to discuss beforehand. But still, could you guys give me your opinions on this? Thanks a lot. Now for a few important comments. One commenter said they'd be divorcing so fast. Another commenter, Dog of the Bone, said, so he cheated and now wants to be able to keep cheating by calling it poly. Lol. Come on, do not have kids with this man for the love of God, and if you have any self-respect, you'll be serving him divorce papers as soon as possible. Sorry your husband is a cheating butt. Swamp Cats added, you got married under the assumption you would remain monogamous. He is trying to fundamentally change the nature of your relationship. If I were you, I would drop any attempts at conceiving and figure out your next steps. Personally, I would not stay with someone who desired an open relationship. You need to decide if it's something you're willing to entertain or not. Now for the update a few weeks later. Hey guys, first off, sorry I didn't reply to all your comments. I am very thankful for them. They helped me realize hard but fair truths about the whole situation. I waited for a bit to think about it all and had multiple long discussions with my husband. I wanted to confront him before making a final decision. To answer some of your questions, the other girl wanted to meet him, but they never did. Partly because my husband refused, but honestly, mostly because she lives too far from here. I still got checked for STDs though, and I'm clean, yay. As for our polyamory friends, they apparently were the ones who suggested him to go down the polyamory road. I stopped talking to them for now. I'll deal with the bigger problem first. I told him his actions hurt me deeply, and that while I appreciated him admitting his affair, it was still infidelity. I told him what you guys said, that turning it into polyamory was merely greenlighting the affair after the fact. That polyamory should be built on mutual trust and communication, which he already broke. That I didn't feel respected. It destroyed him. He said he already knew deep down, but didn't want to admit it, neither to me nor to himself. We both screamed and cried a lot. He finally admitted he wanted to open the marriage for selfish reasons. He is very sorry. He cut off contact with the other girl, let me fully access his computer and phone, and now wants to go to counseling to repair our relationship and marriage. He is showing me a lot of affection and attention since then. Although he admits himself, it's sometimes out of guilt and not just out of pure love. And now I want to make it work too, but Am I? Or is it sunk cost fallacy? I don't know. Our first session is in 2 months, the earliest we could get, and every day I change my mind. Literally yesterday, I wanted to leave him, while today I think it's worth giving it a try. Because we've known each other for so long, we understand each other on a very deep level, share a lot of interests, and have already built so much together. He was there for me during hard parts of my life. He took responsibility for his actions and is really trying. Plus, if I leave him, I'd have to start my life nearly from scratch, find a new place to live, go back into dating for the first time in 12 years. I don't want to lose everything. It sounds very hard and scary. Am I not too old for this? But at the same time, that's a form of denial, isn't it? It doesn't matter if those years were good, it's not going to be the same. Even if he gains my trust back, even if I forgive him, I'll never forget. I think he is genuinely remorseful, but isn't it too late for that? I am too empathetic. Him being present now doesn't erase what was done. Do I want to stay not because I still believe in this relationship, but because I don't have the strength to ask for a divorce? Because it's the easy choice, some kind of codependency? I have no idea. I can picture both paths clearly, and it's tearing me apart. I am lost, maybe even more than I was when I wrote my previous post. I've lost sleep and appetite, and I'm not sure I enjoy anything in my life anymore. I booked an appointment with a psychologist for me alone to help with this whole thing. I am sorry. At this point, I am rambling. I know I am the only one who can decide what's okay and comfortable for me or not. It's ultimately my choice, and my choice only. The emotional hell I am going through just makes thinking about that choice very hard and paralyzing. I'll go to both therapies and try to see what to do from here. I'll try to update, but it's probably going to take a while. I am sorry. I want to thank you again for your support, and I am sending you guys a lot of love. He cut off contact with her because once he told her he was married and wanted us both, she just ran away and broke up with him. There are times since then where my husband starts feeling sad or angry because of what's basically withdrawal. And for that, he's at least sensible enough not to blame me. What kind of marriage did we have before this crisis? It will sound so naive. It's my first and only romantic relationship. We were very close and basically grew as adults together. We could talk about anything and understand each other. We shared the same values and interests. What changed, I think, is that we got into a routine and he got bored. During our argument, he said he was addicted to the attention the girl was giving him, and that he felt I didn't show him I was in love with him enough anymore. I told him that even if it was true, he should have told me instead of having an affair. On one hand, I have my faults too, and I could accept this as one of them. On the other, I was taking care of him and the house while he was sick. I don't think he believes it. I don't think he means it. But it makes me wonder whether I was actually a good wife for him, even though I am not responsible for his actions. Thanks again for your support, y'all. It's a lot to process, but it helps me so much. Now for a few comments. When asked if she and her husband have kids and plans on getting counseling, she said, "Kids are off the table. If we do go into counseling and it goes exceptionally well, maybe we'll talk about it. But for now, the distrust is already there. He says I love you, but I never know whether it's to regain my trust, whether he means it or not. Even if he does he love me, or is it a lie he tells himself?" Then a commenter said, "If you choose to stay, don't be surprised if in a year you find him talking to someone again. Cheaters are sneaky. They'll show remorse and swear they've changed. Meanwhile, they're smirking inside because they've started a new affair and think they can get away with it this time." She replied, "Thank you. It's obvious and well known. Once a cheater, always a cheater. But reading it helps me fight denial. I really need to break up with him, if not for myself, just to show him that actions have consequences." Now for the 3-month update. We are divorcing. Hooray! Hey, I hope you are doing well. A huge amount of things happened since then. I'll quickly summarize. It was a very, very unpleasant ride. So, soon-to-be ex-husband had an emotional affair online and tried to make me greenlight it by asking for an open marriage where we'd be allowed to have side adventures. I refused, and his affair partner dumped him. He begged me to try to reconcile with him, to which I agreed. while I was actually trying to prepare my exit. We both went to individual therapy, still am. We separated temporarily 3 times, but every time I came back, it went terribly. He was desperate. He kept trying to cross my boundaries, love-bombing me, playing the victim, asking to touch me even though I established I didn't want to, threatening to unalive himself if we were to divorce. I could go on and on. This made me finally realize, along with my therapist's help, a lot of self-reflection, and my exchanges on Reddit, that I was in a hurtful relationship, which is an important part, actually the most important part of this update. Please look up definitions and examples of abuse, because I had no idea that what my husband had been doing all these years, even before the affair, counted as such. In his case, it was psychological abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, blame-shifting, emotional blackmail, nothing aggressive or mean, which turned me into a very submissive partner over the years, always catering to his needs while erasing mine. I rationalized everything. It happened subtly and gradually, and I was too naive to see it for what it was. His emotional affair and open marriage proposal were the natural continuity of that. Of course, the more I tried to get away from him, the more manipulative he got. Now that I was aware of it, I knew what he was doing. But fighting years of conditioning, even if you recognize it and succeed, is fucking exhausting and disarming. So earlier today, I brought a friend home to assist me. We sat down, the 3 of us, and I told my husband we were over, and I handed him the papers. It might sound dumb, but it's genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I was terrified, yet he agreed. He repeatedly asked me if I was sure. He reminded me of the family we were planning to have and of our best memories together. Was it all for nothing? Apparently, yes. He was heartbroken, clearly mad and frustrated. But still, he agreed. He signed them and went back to his parents for now. We still have to go through the whole procedure, separate our assets, decide what to do with the house and all, and he still wants us to go to marriage counseling. But right now, I feel free for the first time in months. The last hours have been a mix of tears, celebration, and godly, restful sleep. And I have to thank you guys again because my first Reddit post was the wake-up call I needed to eventually, finally, get here. Better late than never, G. Thank you so much. A lot of love to you all. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, he reminded me of the family we were planning to have and of our best memories together. Was it all for nothing? Apparently, yes. He was heartbroken. That's a special kind of jerk. Was it all for nothing after cheating on his partner? He sounds like an insufferable jerk, honestly. Congrats on your freedom. She replied, I know, right? The hypocrisy. The nerves of this man. The worst part is that he appears very charming to everyone who knows him, myself included. Hell, a lot of people from our circle who are aware of what he did still think he's a good person who just lost himself for a while. I guess it's hard to accept the ones we love can be terrible persons too. Another commenter said, you have been through a long, hard journey, and it will take a while yet, but you are investing in yourself and your health and happiness. Good for you. Continue self-care and practice safety and security. Slow down and heal so that you will be strong and ready to seek and recognize true love. Wishing you a joyous future. You can do this. She responded, thank you. I'll do my best. I like to think the hardest part is behind me, but this story taught me to expect the worst. Whatever happens, though, from now on, it's me first. I deserve love and happiness, and I'll fight for it. Now for the latest update. My previous post should have been the final update. I wish. God, I wish. But no, of course not. Of course it got worse again. Frick my life. After my soon-to-be ex-husband signed the divorce papers, we went no contact, or at least I tried to. He still sent me text messages, voice messages, and tried to call me multiple times. He even sent me a long letter full of statements such as, I'm concerned that your mental health is deteriorating. I believe you need antidepressants to help you feel like yourself again. Or, your trauma is understandable, but it probably makes you want to punish me by making irrational decisions like divorce. Or, I am afraid you are surrounding yourself with questionable influences that have bad agendas. Please let me help you see it through. He claimed that the crisis was just as hard for him as it was for me. People told me he was escalating and that I should protect myself. I should have listened immediately, but I didn't react soon enough. He came to our street uninvited, pleading for a second chance. He insisted he wanted to be there for me and for us, saying he didn't deserve any of this. I started to feel distressed. He saw that I was unwell and wanted to comfort me, so he hugged me, but I didn't want to be touched. I'm pretty sure I told him no. I think I screamed no multiple times, but my memory is fuzzy. Either I misremember, or I did say no, and he ignored it and didn't stop. I know it's just a hug, but it triggered a severe panic attack. He called emergency services, telling them he was worried about me because I wasn't myself. I had to ask the paramedics to make him leave. After that, he told me he was there for me if I needed him, but he thought we needed space. He contacted half our social circle to inform them that I was unwell and needed support. Our mutual friends, my colleagues, our neighbors, my physician. People reached out of the blue to ask if I was okay. I became paranoid, unsure of who to trust anymore. Close friends, my therapist, and people here helped me see things more clearly. My lawyer filed a restraining order against him, but unfortunately it was refused. Not enough concrete evidence of a threat, apparently. I want to scream. We submitted a second request, which is currently being reviewed. In the meantime, I've moved into an apartment of my own. He doesn't know where I live. Hell, almost nobody does. I constantly wonder how he reacted when he found out. I'm still paying my half of the mortgage because nothing has been decided regarding our house yet. It's financially very hard for me, but I do feel safer. I am feeling much better, although I remain haunted by constant stress, sleep disorders, nightmares, nervous tics, random bursts of tears, and rushes of anxiety. My physician prescribed me sedatives. They do make it easier. I realize I'm isolating myself more and more. I try to fight it, but I'm really afraid that sensitive information could leak, even accidentally. I've started reaching out to my closest friends again as much as I can. I am trying to come back here on Reddit. I keep going to therapy. It's necessary. Because one part of me, the part he cultivated for so long, urges me to stop all of this, to go back to the house, cancel the restraining order, cancel the divorce, call him, apologize, and repair our relationship. It would be insane. I am not going to do that. I do not listen to that little voice. I don't. But when your defenses are attacked over and over again, it becomes incredibly hard to reason properly. I can't wait for the divorce to be over. I just want to move on. I want all of this to be behind me. I'm sorry this is bleak. I wish I would have left sooner. I just hope this can help someone, anyone. Now for a few comments. The original poster mentioned they already have a Ring doorbell and are waiting for this month's salary to buy additional cameras. They also got their landlord's authorization to add latches to the door and hope this will help. When talking with her therapist about how manipulative her ex is, the original poster said, "My therapist is aware. She stopped putting gloves on a while ago and straight up say his behavior is hurtful. She encouraged me to move out and gave me a lot of grounding and breathing exercises to help me when it gets overwhelming. As I said in another comment, I'll see if I can find someone else, maybe specialized in trauma, but the waiting lists can be very long here. I've been journaling for a few months now, and it's true that it helps a lot. As for my friends, I have a couple ones I really trust, and they already know everything. I am trying to find a balance between venting to them about all of this and keeping some lighter, positive interactions. Anyway, thanks for your support. It means a lot to me. Am I the idiot for feeling vindicated when my so-called friends got a taste of their own medicine after excluding me from our housing plans? I don't even have words to describe how absolutely awful they are for doing that. We were even talking about it and went to some viewings, making sure that there were enough bedrooms. But they decided to just silently put a deposit down for a flat that had enough bedrooms for everyone except me. I only found out when one of their friends came around and said, "Are you guys excited now you've put your deposit down?" I was instantly confused, so I asked quite simply, "What do you mean?" And the friend started talking about how good the flat looks and began questioning whether or not we had actually put a deposit down. He got told to shut up by one of the people in my friend group, and I just decided to leave the kitchen. I haven't talked to them since, about a day now, apart from one of them who attempted to try to keep me included in the group and explained the entire situation. Honestly, frick all of them. Should I just go alone for next year? Most of the good housing is gone. It's just male one-bedroom, apartments, private halls, and on campus. Edit. I want to clarify we have known each other for around 4 months. We found out we were flatmates roughly 2 months before we moved in, as we got allocated a show flat. Some of us even met up before uni started. Now for a few comments. One commenter asked, "What were the reasons regarding why they excluded you?" OP replied, "The lad who talked to me shortly after I left, the one who had the balls to call them out for it being wrong even though he was a part of it, just said that they found a really nice place, but it didn't have enough bedrooms, and they all really wanted it." Another commenter shared, "My friend's sister excluded one of her friends this way. Their reason was that the excluded friend wanted more expensive accommodation than other people were willing to pay, so the group silently dropped her and left her to find new accommodation really late in the year rather than anyone warn her. Sounds like your group didn't have more of a reason than that they wanted the 5-bed, and you got unlucky being the last person anyone thought to include. Or you weren't in the right place at the right time. That doesn't change anything, though. I'm sorry you've been betrayed like this. The fact no one had the balls to tell you and that they would have sooner left you with fewer options to move on is the worst." OP added, "I think the cherry on the cake is the fact the deposit was put down for over a week and no one told me. I wasn't even pushing expensive accommodation. I was actually pushing cheaper ones. I had a look at the one they picked, and it was £110 a week, which is in my budget. It was, as you said, just because I wasn't there at the viewing to see the 5-bed one." Then another commenter said, "Sorry I keep commenting, but you said you're really good friends with them, etc. So another point. You're in your first year, right? We're very much not that far into the year. Perhaps, and I say this exceptionally gently, based on my own difficulty with rejection and emotions, where you thought your relationship wasn't quite accurate? Is it possible you're more invested than they are? Again, I don't see this at all judgmentally or with any harshness. I know this feeling." OP responded, "Yes, first year. Known them for 4 to 5 months now, as we knew we were flatmates well before uni started, and even well before we got A-level results. We all had good conversation with family when we met up just after we got our A-level results. I'm not underestimating our friendship because it really was amazing. Housing is extremely scarce, unfortunately, around here, and there's usually nothing left after Dec January except for on-campus, which isn't guaranteed either. On our student room forums, there's quite a lot of second-year students who've had to pay for hotels, hostels, whilst they wait for an empty bedroom to show up in town. Now for the 3-day update. So, unfortunately, I can't move into a spare room in my uni halls. As it turns out, these spare rooms are being deep cleaned and don't have any mattresses at the moment, which sucks. Flatmates still haven't spoken a single word to me. I've tried initiating conversation many times for them to just either act like they never heard what I said or walk out of the room. Thankfully, though, I've sorted out accommodation with some folk in a society I'm part of for next year. A male 4-bedroom flat with a shared kitchen between 10 people in a really nice, recently renovated halls in the town center. Now here's the actual funny part. Overhearing them whilst eating, I heard their future landlord essentially pulled out and decided not to put the property on the market for next year, so they're actually fricked. The student housing fair was 2 days ago, and there is actually nothing left for them. They'll either be staying on campus or be splitting up and going their own ways. I cannot make this shoot up. Instant karma. I want to thank you all for your insights on the original post. They massively helped me from procrastinating and shriveling up into a ball and dying. Thank you. Now for a few comments. A commenter asked, "Did you ever figure out why they turned on you? Did something happen?" OP replied, "I'm more sensing that it's just a lapse of judgment. They saw an opportunity and took it without thinking of the consequences of just dropping someone from the group without saying anything. Every time I attempt to talk to any of them, they just look incredibly guilty. Am I the idiot for for telling my boyfriend's friend to back off after she tried to undermine our relationship. My boyfriend has a big group of friends with lots of girls in it. A lot of times after they go out or have too much to drink, they'll crash at someone's house. One night, he came home and shared he slept in a bed with this girl. We did not have a fight at all. I know he's grown up doing this. I told him I wasn't super comfortable with that and asked if he could not do that, to which he did not argue at all and expressed total respect for my boundary. We have not spoken about it since. She texted me the morning after they went out, which are these pictures. Am I overreacting by telling her she's overstepping, or are her concerns valid? Transcript of the text messages. Other woman, hi. So last night, when OP's boyfriend and I went out, we three and all went back to redacted, and boyfriend and I were going to take the pull-out couch, and he let me know you were not comfortable with him sleeping in a bed with me. While I totally understand, I want to let you know I have never tried to do anything with boyfriend and would never. I felt bad that he had to sleep on the floor, and it just didn't seem fair to him. I promise there's nothing nefarious about us sleeping in a bed together. We've been friends for 16 years. Hey, I know nothing has ever happened between you two. Don't worry. For me, it's just a matter of what I feel is appropriate in my personal relationships. I trust him fully, but for me, I'm just not comfortable with him sharing a bed with another woman, even if he's known her for a while. It doesn't speak to either of you in terms of trustworthiness. It's just my boundary, right? But he had to sleep on the ground. That doesn't seem fair. And he has back problems, so I'm sure he wasn't happy about it either. If it was a problem for him, he could have called me to pick him up, or Ubered home, or talked to me about it. He hasn't mentioned it to me. Okay, well, if I'm just being super transparent, it just feels like it's really over-the-top possessiveness, and it's not a good look for either of you. You can trust to sleep Patchley in a bed with his girlfriends, and seeing him sleep on the floor makes me sad for him. I really like you and the two of you together, but I know him very well, and just wanted to give you an idea of how this might be affecting him/those around him. While I appreciate how much you care for boyfriend, honestly, I feel like you're overstepping. This is not your business, and I find it strange you're being a little insistent on demanding he sleep in a bed with you. He agreed to this boundary wholeheartedly, and that's all you need to know about it. It's my relationship, and he knows he can come to me if he has a problem with it. I'm done talking about this with you. Other woman. Now for a few important comments. Commenter 1. What the hell? You are in the right. This is weird on so many levels on her part. Thank you. It's hard because his friend group is so deeply intertwined. They've done long camping trips together, everyone sharing tents and being hippies lol. So while I recognize this is an unusual behavior in the group, I feel it shouldn't matter to them if he's agreeing to it. Nor, you're allowed to have boundaries, and I can't imagine arguing with another person over their boundaries in a relationship. I also wouldn't want my BF sharing a bed with another woman. It looks so weird for her to argue with you this hard on it. But also, why is your BF discussing stuff about your relationship with her? It's none of her business. OP, thank you. I think he probably just let her know why he suddenly will not share a bed with her, as it's something he's done with everyone in his friend group through his life, haha. Commenter 3, not overreacting at all. Why does she feel so comfortable texting you about this? Do you know her? I feel like I'm missing a piece of the puzzle here, because I can't imagine some strange girl texting me about sleeping in the same bed with my man and getting away with it. You're also far nicer than I would have been. OP, yeah, we've hung out quite a few times. We're friends by proxy. OP on her boyfriend being friends with the opposite intimacy. I mean, I'm not going to tell him he can't be friends with his lifelong friends just because they're women. I think your opinion on opposite intimacy friendships is a projection of what's happening in your head around your feelings toward women, not what's reality for most people. If I didn't respect his friendships, I wouldn't let him see her. I feel like my boundary is more about sleeping in a bed with women than with her specifically. OP clarifies up on why her boyfriend didn't take an Uber or a ride home himself after the concert and the bar? This has been asked a lot, so I will clear it up here. They all went back to one of the guy friends' house after they went to a concert and a bar or two after. I'm okay with that, as long as he's safe. I had an early morning this morning, so his intention was to not wake me up. OP on her age and her boyfriend's age. How long they have been together? He's 31, I'm 27. We've been together for 1.5 years. I wouldn't ask him to stop being friends with his girlfriends. They're very important to him, and honestly, I love that he has so many women who care about him. I personally think it's a red flag when men don't have women to vouch for their character. I like that they all feel safe with him. Now for the next day update. Hi everyone, I have updates for you. Unfortunately, no text messages to show because he called her, so this will just be text. So I showed him the texts and he literally could not believe it at first. I have never seen him get mad, but his face got red and he was really quiet for a moment. He said he was mortified by her behavior toward me. He asked a million times if I was okay, lol. He said she argued with him about it at the time because it's never been an issue and he just brushed her off. I asked what exactly he said to her, and his words are, "I said it makes you uncomfortable and I want to respect that." I'm cool with that response to her, personally. He called her immediately and told her she crossed a line and needed to apologize to me, that her behavior makes it seem like she's trying to sabotage his relationship. And then he was honest with her that most of the girlfriends don't like her, and she needs to reevaluate how she's making people feel. I was surprised by this because he's typically not confrontational like that. I didn't hear her responses. She was not on speaker. They spoke about it for like 5 minutes. It wasn't the blow-up some of you wanted. He was clearly not happy though. My favorite thing he said was, "You're doing a great job of pushing people away. No one wants the drama." He told her what's most important is that she apologizes to me, and then he hung up. That was it. I have not received a text from her yet. I'm not sure yet what he's going to do regarding their friendship, but it's surely very damaged now. I'm really not threatened by her. I can deal with a crazy woman and trust him enough to deal with her as well. She doesn't hold any sway over him. So that's all I have for you guys. Sorry. If you are interested, I'm answering a few questions that were asked a lot in the original post. A couple of things to clear up now that I've spoken to him about it. 1, he took the cushions from the couch, which is where the pull-out bed is, and made himself a bed on the ground. Dude had a comforter and pillows and everything. This is hilarious to me because why was she so concerned about his back then? I bet that was more comfortable than the pull-out couch. It's also worth noting, he's the kind of guy that could fall asleep doing a handstand. He can literally sleep anywhere, anytime. 2, he doesn't have back problems. He twinged something in his back at the gym last week, and it'll clear up soon. I should have specified that in my original post. 3, I don't want to get defensive, but I want to clarify, I didn't demand he doesn't sleep in a bed with women. I asked him about it. He agreed because it's not a necessary activity in his life. It's an easy one for him to cut out. His words are that he literally has no problem not sleeping in a bed with the girls. We're very open, and if something arises where that's the only option, I'm fine with that. Number 4, there was a lot of debate about this rule I set, and it was interesting to read how differently everyone feels about it. It's not that I don't trust him, it's that I find sleeping next to someone to be very intimate. I think it's an important part of a relationship to be unconscious next to each other. I'll often wake up kind of intertwined with him, and in my opinion, it's too intimate a thing to be doing with other women. Some other examples of this could be if your partner always goes to their friend for advice before you, or if they go out to a romantic restaurant together. It's not intimacy, but maybe crosses a line in intimacy. 5, I also don't want to share too much about her because I don't want to dox everyone, but she is known to be extremely jealous as all of the friends are starting to settle down with their partners. I'm not shocked that this happened. 6, I will not be showing him or her this thread. Now for a few important comments. Commenter 1, your boyfriend had the proper reaction and response to her. Glad to see it was a one-sided concern on her part. Wish y'all the best of luck. It's hilarious to me. Some people think the rule of your boyfriend not sharing a bed with another woman is something no one else shares. Like it's normal for someone in a committed relationship to share a bed with someone of the opposite intimacy. I'm 40 and literally don't know anyone, even in my 20s, that had close friends of the opposite intimacy that would be okay with their SO sharing a bed with someone else. Why would anyone put themselves in a situation where their character could be called into question? Everyone has the right to have whatever boundaries they want in a relationship that makes them feel secure. Glad your boyfriend had the wherewithal to call out his friend for getting involved in y'all's relationship. Commenter 3. You reacted beautifully. Your boyfriend reacted beautifully. Very strong couple. I hope things work out for you both in the long term.